Hey, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yatabia Allah coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will is edifying. Just another update on World War III. All right, it's not going to be too long. I'm just going to read this article, grab a couple precepts. But this came out a couple days ago, November 11th. All right, and it says U.S. plans to establish $500 million military base near Gaza border, Israeli media. Now, you know, there's been a couple articles going back and forth saying this is true, this is not true. But, you know, if it stands to be true, this is a one step closer to that war in the Middle East. All right, World War III. But I'll just read a little bit of it. It says the U.S. plans to build a $500 million military base in Israel near the Gaza border to oversee the implementation of the ceasefire agreement in the Palestinian enclave, Israel media said Tuesday. The Daily Yedoeth Aranath, citing anonymous Israel officials, said Washington seeks to establish a large military base in the Gaza border area, which would mark a significant escalation of U.S. activity in Israel. The base would be housing an international task force which was agreed to be formed under the Gaza ceasefire agreement to monitor the implementation of the truce inside the enclave, the sources said. Several thousand U.S. soldiers will be stationed in the base, they added. According to the newspaper, the project would be the first large-scale American military installation on the Israeli territory, underscoring a deepening U.S. commitment to post-war stabilization efforts in Gaza. During Tel Aviv's 2 years of war in Gaza, the U.S. installed the THAAD missile defense system, which was used in the interception of Iranian missiles and drones during a 12-day conflict with Israel, it added. The establishment of an American base on Israeli soil shows just how determined Washington is to be involved in Gaza and the broader Israeli-Palestinian conflict in Israel, official told the Daily. Several U.S. officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, previously affirmed that there will be no American boots on the ground in Gaza. Currently, 200 U.S. military personnel are stationed in a U.S.-backed civil military coordination center in Kiryat Gat in southern Israel to monitor the ceasefire. All right? I mean, that's pretty much it. But the main point is what? This is the first large-scale American military installation on Israeli territory. So it's showing you that this is playing right into World War III. All right, this is playing right into this scripture right here. Jeremiah 50:45, it says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that he hath taken against Babylon," and who's the modern-day Babylon? America. "And his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out." And the least of the flock is those small hats over there in Israel. All right, those Amalekites. Okay? So it says, "Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." Now, you know, this is talking to America. Okay? And this is letting it be known that the prophecy is Israel is going to involve America basically in their destruction, you know, but going into World War III. All right, they're going to draw that military presence, their armies, into Israel. All right, which eventually is going to go into that whole valley of the Yahweh Shaphat. Okay, which is that Middle Eastern region in the Persian Gulf. Okay, but you can see how they're setting up shop, and you know, one false flag, you know, a couple hundred military, U.S. military troops killed, and they can easily, you know, start war like that. And you know, Israel wants to they want to take over, you know, those lands right there. You know, they have a thing called the Greater Israel Initiative, or whatever they call it. And you know, that's what these Amalekites are about. Okay, but ultimately, this is what the Lord wants. All right. Now let me jump over here, Joel 3, and verse 9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Because You see America, setting up shop, but also this is going to be a world war. So all these countries are going to be involved. You know, you go into Russia, Iran. You have their allies, America, Israel, their allies, NATO. Okay, and this is going to draw all those militaries over there. So what you think is going to happen when America builds up its presence and then starts to shoot on Russia's allies? All right, everybody's going to get involved. But it says, prepare for war, that World War III. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right. And this is what's happening. This has been happening. All right. These nations putting their money towards military purposes. All right. And then you have the weak saying they're strong because they're basically made an even playing field with these nukes. All right, Iran, they may already very well be nuclear capable. Okay, but all these different, you guys, North Korea, I believe Pakistan has nukes. The surrounding countries. Okay, hey, it's gonna get popping. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves around about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And this is again, World War III. All right, Revelation, the 11th chapter. Okay, you got that third woe that cometh quickly. Now, it's Yahweh Shaphat, Yahweh judges, because this is where he's going to judge these heathen armies. Okay, but nonetheless, this is where they're going to gather, and they're going to start to get it popped off. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. And this is approaching very fast. All right, this is an end time prophecy. Okay, World War III, you got wars and rumors of wars. All right, Revelation, the 11th chapter, this is where we're at. It says Ezekiel 38 and 1. It says, and the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And this is going into Russia, okay, modern day Russia. And Gog and Magog, which was the ancient Mede land, but today who occupies it? It's Russia. Okay, it says, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back. Yeah, ultimately Russia, Russia's another pond of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Hey, that's an Edomite country. Those are Edomites. Okay, but the Lord is going to use them to destroy Babylon, but they themselves are going to be destroyed. Okay, it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, given that ancient, not ancient, but that same type of spirit they had in the Cold War. Okay, how Russia was about to get it in with America. This is what the Lord is doing. He's going to put that spirit back into them. It says, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, going into all their, tanks and military equipment, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So you see how America's starting to set up shop. All these other countries are coming too. It's going to name a couple. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and his bands, the house of Togarmah, of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Which Russia is going to be a big ally to all these different countries. Okay? That's why a lot of these countries are going to have, that backing, is because Russia will supply a lot of that military capabilities. Okay, but hey, this is literally World War III. All right, they're already setting shop over there in the Middle East. That's why there's no peace in the Middle East. That's why there's all this different turmoil going on. No matter what they say, a ceasefire. Hey, World War III is coming to that region. All right. This is what we're looking for. This is the patience and faith of the saints. All right, because this is end time prophecy and this has to happen. Now, before World War III fully pops off, we understand that the mark of the beast is going to be implemented. So this is how we know that, hey, we're very, very close. All right, and this is Isaiah 13, verse 17, and the subheading is Babylon will fall to the Medes. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which again, the modern day Medes are the Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. They don't care about America's money. When that time gets to, is put into their mind, all right, when the Lord puts that into their spirit to fully destroy this place, that's what's going to happen. It says they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. These missiles, when they get popped off, Russia ain't going to care about the children. They're not going to care about the women. Neither are the missiles going to have pity. They're not going to stop in their tracks. It says in Babylon, America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, and what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah? It was destroyed with fire and brimstone, which America is going to be destroyed that same way. All right, that thermonuclear technology. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Straight to the point. Hey, we're close. It's another World War III update. U.S. plans to establish $500 million military base near Gaza border. So you see these countries getting ready to set up shop and set up their military operations for that war. All right, again, Lord's will, this is edifying. Once again, call Halim Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and Abba Baba.